Welcome back, everyone. We are going to go over lesson 6 in this video, which is experimental design with a blocked design. So this means we're doing blocking now. So when groups of experimental units are similar, it is often a good idea to gather them together into blocks. By blocking, we isolate the variability attribute to the difference between the blocks so that we can see the differences caused by the treatments more clearly. In a randomized block design, the randomization occurs only within the block. Blocking reduces variability to our response variable. In essence, we are splitting our experimental units into homogeneous group blocks and then conducting mini experiments within each block. So homogeneous groups means that within the group there's something similar about them. So steps for a randomized block is that you start with your experimental units. Okay. And within that, you have block 1, block 2, and then block 3. And then within these blocks, you have your treatment groups. Okay. And the blocks can be excuse me. The blocks can be done by different groups, so it can be based on gender, age. If we're talking about work, it can be about experience levels. Okay. Now to do a random design, you want to start with a block. So number block n from 1 to n. Assign to treatment using random number generator, and then 3 measure. 3 would be your response variable, and then repeat for each block. Okay, so let's go ahead and go over the model problem. So this comes from the 2007 AP Stats Free Response question. As dogs age, diminished joints and hip health may lead to joint pain and thus reduce a dog's activity level. Such a reduction in activity can lead to other health concerns such as weight gain and lethargy due to lack of exercise. So lethargy means that they don't move a lot. It's the act of not moving. A study is to be conducted to see which of the 2 dietary supplements, glucosamine or chondroitin, is more effective in promoting joint and hip health, reducing the onset of canine osteoarthritis. Researchers will randomly select a total of 300 dogs from 10 different large veterinarian practices across the country. All of the dogs are more than 6 years old, and the owners have given consent to participate in the study. Changes in joint and hip health will be evaluated after 6 months of treatment. Okay? So what would an advantage of adding a control group in the design of this study? So a control group allows us to compare the change in joint and hip health to dogs not getting treatment. So it allows us to see if the treatment are actually making an effect or if it's just the dog itself is just improving on its own. Assuming a control group is added to the other two groups in the study, explain how you would assign the 300 dogs to these three groups for a completely randomized design. So this is without blocking. We're not talking about blocking just yet. Okay? So you start with your dog. It's either going to get the what is it called? Let's see. The glycosamine, or they're going to get the other one was the other supplement, or they're going to be a control. Okay. So number 1 to 300. Number 2, use random number generator to assign 100 dogs to each group, and then measure change in joint and hip health. Okay, so that's complete. That's creating the design using a completely randomized design. Okay. Part C, rather than using a completely randomized design, one group of researchers proposed blocking on clinics, and another group of researchers proposes blocking on breeds of dogs. How would you decide which one of these two variables is used as a blocking variable? So in this case, blocking by breed is actually better. So blocking by breed, because breeds have different kinds of joint and hip health. So it eliminates confounding factors by blocking by breed. Okay, so like with a clinic, if you block by clinic, within the clinics there's still different types of dogs, so you can't tell if there's a change in joint health because of the medication or because of the different dogs. And one clinic might have more of one breed over another. Describe how you would design the experiment using blocks when you using the blocks you have designated in part C. Okay, so one is number breed 1 from 1 to n. Random number generator to assign to the 3 groups. And then 3, measure joint and hip health. And then repeat for other breeds. Okay. We'll go ahead and move on. So now we have the practice problem. I want you to go ahead and pause the video, try the problems on your own, and then watch the video again to check your answers. So this practice problem comes from the 2009 Form B of the AP Stats Free Response Exam. A manufacturer of toxic pesticide granules plan to use a dye to color the pesticide so that the birds will avoid eating it. A series of experiments will be designed to find colors or patterns that 3 bird species, blackbirds, starlings, and geese, will avoid eating. Representative samples of birds will be captured to use in the experiment, and the response variable will be the amount of time a hungry bird will avoid eating food of a particular color or pattern. Previous research has shown that male birds do not avoid solid colors. However, it is possible that males might avoid colors displayed in a pattern, such as stripes. In an effort to prevent males from eating the pesticides, the following two treatments are applied to the pesticide granules. Treatment 1 is a red background with narrow blue stripes, and treatment 2 is a blue background with narrow red stripes. To increase the power of detecting a difference in the two treatments, the analysis of the experiment, the researchers decided to block on the 3 species of birds. Assuming that there are 100 birds in each of the 3 species, explain how you would assign birds to treatments in such a block design. So you start with your birds, right? And you have your blackbirds, your starlings, and the geese. And within each of these, they would get one of the 2 treatments. Okay, so you're gonna number so you're gonna number the blackbirds 1 through 100. Random number generator to assign half to each treatment. And then 3, measure time before eating. Okay, and then you would repeat for each species. Okay. Moving on to problem number 2. This comes from the 2001 free response question. Students are designing an experiment to compare the productivity of 2 varieties of dwarf fruit trees. The site for the experiment is a field that bordered by a densely forest area on the west, which is the left side. The field has been divided into 8 plots of approximately the same area. The students have decided that the test plots would be blocked. 4 trees, two of each of the varieties will be assigned at random to the 4 plots within each block, with 1 tree planted in each block. The 2 blocking schemes shown on the right are under consideration for each scheme. A block is indicated by the white region and the other block is indicated by the gray region. So here, schematic A has here's block 1, this is block 2, and for this one's block 1, and this is block 2. Okay, which of the blocking schemes, A or B, is better for the experiment, and explain your answers. So block I meant to say scheme A. So scheme A is better because block 1 is homogeneous. So you want each of these blocks to be homogeneous, right? Is homogeneous in that it has only trees next to forested area, and block 2 doesn't have the forested area. If you had looked at schematic A, block 1 has both attributes, and block 2 also has both attributes, so there aren't homogeneous blocking. Okay. Even though the students have decided to block, they must randomly assign the varieties of trees to the plots with within each block. What is the purpose of this randomization in context of this experiment? So by randomization, we eliminate the potential bias, potential location bias, that could affect the results. Okay, and during the first week of school, we will be going through a simulation to help you better understand why blocking in this specific way is better at achieving what we want than just randomly picking the spots.